Hello everybody, ciao tutti. We are here in my kitchen today, ready to make something that I promised a little while ago, actually about a week and a half ago, that I would show on the show here. So, thank you for all being here. Please like and subscribe to my channel and my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I love sharing with you guys my traditions of my Italian cooking, but also I just love teaching people how to cook. Handful of this, pinch of that. This dish we're making today has no recipe, no official recipe. We're gonna give you ingredients and you're gonna see how it's done, okay? So when you're sitting here saying, what are the ingredients? Literally, it's a handful of ingredients, and you can also modify it to make it a little different, and I'm gonna show you how. So these are polpette. Polpette, I don't know what the exact translation is. It's like a ball, it's like a fritter, it's a blob of something. In Sicily, they call meatballs polpette. In my town, they call meatballs polpette di carne because you have to specify that they're meat balls. These are not meat. They have no meat in them. They're bread balls. They are, I like to call them a sauce sponge because they're made with breadcrumbs and cheese, and you put them in, afterwards, after you fry them, you put them in a thin sauce. You don't want it to be a thick, chunky sauce. You want it something that's gonna soak in. And they soak up the sauce, and it's just another vehicle for the sauce. Just like pastas, all the different pastas are vehicles for all the different sauces you put on them. And the different shapes of pasta hold the different sauces better. Well, this is another vehicle for sauce. It's just so good. So simple. Maybe a lot of you remember your mothers or grandmothers making some little patty or something out of the leftover breadcrumbs when you've made chicken cutlets, or you've had, anything that you used breading and you had a little bit left, you had a little bit of egg left, and you mix it together and fried it up. This is basically what that is, but then we put them in the sauce. So we're gonna start real quick by making a little sauce. Oh, good. Put the apron on. And yes, where there's a whisk, there's a way. Like my shirt, isn't it cute? I have found all these cool shirts, I just love them. And they all just have little pieces of me on them. So here we go. I truly believe that if you want to do something, you can. So where there's a will, there's a way. And of course in the kitchen, where there's a whisk. All right, or whiskey, I don't know. Keep the whiskey handy too, and then there's always a way. All right, I'm just joking. All right, so we've covered up the whisk. Time to get working now. Put my uniform on. So we have got my pan warming up. I just put a little oil in there. Actually, I'll take it off for a second. We are going to just throw in a little garlic. My garlic is stuck in the garlic holder. There we go. I try to shove as many of them in there as I can. So we're just gonna do maybe 2 cloves of garlic. 1, 2, they're not really huge. And we're just going to rough chop this. And again, garlic, put it in however you like. If you don't like the chunks of garlic, put the whole clove in, and then take it out after it has flavored the oil. Okay. Always gotta use, I don't know why. There must be a science to it, I'm not sure, There's certain things we learn how to do in our family kitchens that we don't ask why, we just know that that's the way you do it. I always use a wooden spoon for my sauce. I don't know why. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's because, it's non-reactive with the acidic sauce and all that. So I've got some good jars of tomato here. Oops, wait a minute. There we go. My mussels are still here. This is Pane. These are organic. Strained. This is the passata, the strained tomatoes. Had it on a little higher, but the garlic was just getting golden, so that's when I put the tomatoes in. Now, instead of running over to the sink, I have my jar of water. We're just going to rinse out these, and we do want this to be kind of a thin sauce. So that's why you want to use a sauce, a passata, something thin, or even if you have your homemade tomatoes that are, your home jarred tomatoes that are like whole tomatoes, things like that, you can crush, blend them down, and at least it's something then thinner, So just rinse my, it's still tomato water, tomato juice, tomato something. Pomodoro, passata di pomodoro, they call it. Okay, and then we're just going to see as this cooks. I may add a little water to it. These look pretty good. I might just add just a little bit more. And now we're just going to let that cook with a little bit of fresh basil. Hold on. I'm just going to throw these beautiful hand-torn pieces. Of course, I'm splashing water in the oil. It's hitting my elbow. Okay, can't have too much basil. But that's it. That, and then I'll add some salt and pepper to it afterwards. So we're going to just let that cook right now. These are the simple ingredients you need to make the polpette. I have fresh made, my homemade breadcrumbs. This, I'm going to show you what it is. These are old slices of Italian bread. Okay, all I do is throw them in the food processor like this. These pieces. And boom, I get breadcrumbs. You can make them, it doesn't matter how thick they are. They can see how these are kind of big and fluffy. Some of them I think did 2 or 3 little batches. Some are finer, some are fluffy, it doesn't matter. You can even just take torn up bread if you want, just break it up, whatever you want to do. Do not use store-bought sand-like breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs you buy in a can at the grocery store are crap. Do not use those. They are dry, it's like sand. They do not absorb what you need to absorb to make these things be good. So don't ever buy store-bought breadcrumbs. Just make your own like this, see? Boop. Okay, so now you can do it 2 different ways. The 2 main ingredients is breadcrumbs and eggs, okay? Let's just say you only have 6 eggs. Then start with your eggs, because then you'll add enough breadcrumbs to make it the right consistency. If you only have so many breadcrumbs and you've got lots of eggs, start with the breadcrumbs. Okay, I've never measured these out. I usually do about a dozen eggs at a time because we'll eat these for 2 or 3 days as a snack. But of course, if the family's here, I'd do like 18, 24 eggs because, there's lots of us. But anyway, so what we're gonna do is, since I do have more breadcrumbs, but since I started with, let's say it's 5 or 6 cups of breadcrumbs. We'll put a approximate measure to what I'm working with here right now. Let's see how many eggs it takes. I have no idea. Okay, you need fresh parsley. I already chopped this up. So we're gonna put in fresh parsley. Chop it as fine or leafy as you want. I may end up throwing a little more in, we'll see. We're going to throw in, before I do the eggs, a little bit of garlic. So I'm gonna take a couple cloves of garlic. Now you can hand chop these like we usually do in Italy. And I use my handy dandy Pampered Chef garlic press, which all you gotta do, because you do want this kind of be fine. So if you do chop them up, you want them chopped up really fine. You want these to be fine so that they spread throughout. So we're gonna use this fork, we're gonna scrape that off. So that was kind of 2 not very big what do you call it? Garlic cloves. I'm gonna throw in 1 more small one. That was probably the equivalent of 2, full size per se breadcrumbs. Garlic cloves. We're gonna throw in a little pepper. We're gonna throw in a little salt, but not too much, because the other main ingredient is the cheese. So 2, 3, 4. Let's just say 6 big spoonfuls of cheese. I don't know, it's probably a cup. Let's do that. That's about a cup. Let's start with that, and I'm gonna see if it's cheesy enough. All right, just stir this around a little. Oh, just this already. Doesn't that, just that to me is already scrumptious. All right, that's 3. All right, that's 6. I know we're gonna need more than 6, so I'm gonna start with 8, and then we'll add as we need. All right, so let's start with that. This is a home recipe. This is a do it as you feel it, as you stir it. So we're just going to beat these eggs, and we're gonna start mixing them with the breadcrumbs. Okay, and I can already tell you, we're gonna definitely need those other 4, if not maybe a few more. I put a dozen eggs out, but I had a feeling I was gonna need a few more. Oh, no, maybe not, it might end up being perfect. They're surprising, so make sure you mix up less than what you think you might need, unless you've got extra breadcrumbs. Actually, this isn't, you do not need all 4, let's see. So, let's do it again. Let's put 2 in and see how that goes. So I want you to see what the consistency is supposed to be like. Yeah, this is gonna be it. This is 10 eggs to approximately, what did I say, 5-6 cups of breadcrumbs. Definitely wanna mix it up good. Make sure that garlic is spread all around. Okay, smell it. I'm smelling it to see if it has enough cheese in it. It's, you know, I think it does, but I'm just gonna put, just because, for safety measures, another spoonful of cheese. And that also helps dry, make it the right consistency. So, a fork is the best thing to use. No fancy schmancy spoons or utensils. A fork beats the egg the best. So, you just want your standard tablespoon. I want to show you what it looks like. So see how this is, it's soft, okay? But it sticks and then falls. So it's not drippy, okay? But it's not super thick. Like this could maybe take 1 more egg. But also know that the more egg, the eggier it is, the foamier your oil will become faster. So what you want now, I've got a good 1.5 inches, about an inch. I got about 1 inch of oil in my cast iron frying pan. So I'm gonna see how that's going. Let me, yeah, the sauce is bubbling nicely. Oh gosh, that smells so good. You know, really does make a difference what tomatoes you use when you make your sauce. It's all about the tomatoes. Okay, it's ready. So I just did 1 little teeny test to see if it bubbles up right away. You just want it to foam up quickly. You know, you're gonna let them just get slightly golden. You don't want it on real high heat though. You want them to be golden. They do not have to cook all the way through if you're making them for the sauce, okay? And which is the way you usually make them. Now, sometimes I make them a little smaller because these are usually full spoonful size. These are like a big oval meatball looking thing. Okay, hold on. So I don't know if you can see this little teeny piece, but see this, it's nice and it's just lightly golden. Of course, that's a little teeny, so it's gonna cook quickly. All right, so I have this, my biggest burner, but I heated it up on high heat and then turned it, well, I had to turn it off for a minute, but just turn it down to like a low or a medium low, because you don't want it to be uber hot. And you want this nice oval shaped. Now some people will use 2 spoons to make them even more perfect, but you can just even do 1 spoon and it's okay. And then just drop it in. I tend to flatten them out a little bit once I drop them in the oil. And another trick to when you're making these is if you stick your spoon in the oil, the polpette falls off of the spoon a little easier. Isn't that cool? So really quickly, I'm going to turn these over because this is already nice and warm. And you don't want to overcrowd the pan. You want to make it so that there's some space between them and so that the oil can bubble up around them so that they will all cook nice and even. So in a standard size, you know, what's this, a 10-inch, 12-inch, 10-inch pan, frying pan, you know, 6 or 8 of them. I've got 5 in there right now. Let's see. There's 8 in there. I would say 8's a nice number. Okay, now I have a pan here that I'm going to just, once they're mostly done, See how these are beautiful golden color? Just gonna put them in there with a little bit of paper towel. These are actually a smidge, I'm making them a smidge smaller than I usually do. But these are beautiful. So let them cook. You'll see as they're cooking, you'll see the cookedness come up around the sides. That's when you want to flip them over. And like I said, they don't need to be fully cooked, but we're going to let them sit in the sauce and they're going to cook. I'm going to let them cook for a good while in the sauce because they really, and in fact, I'll tell you, they're better the next day. They have overnight to sit in the sauce. Yep. Look how beautiful and golden they are. Look at, whoop. Now, if you don't like parsley or you don't like it sticking out of what you're doing, then just either chop it more finely. I like the little pieces of green. I think it makes them look pretty. So I kind of don't overly chop them all the time when I'm putting them in the polpette. And I don't know if you can see this, but eventually the oil starts to foam up. You usually get a couple batches out of the oil. Some people will put them in a pot, and I prefer putting them in a bigger frying pan. Sometimes I use my really big frying pan, and for some reason they seem to bubble up less, and I get more batches out of the bigger pan. But again, when the egg, if you make this too wet, you'll notice them getting bubbly really fast because it's the egg and the oil that just, it does whatever it does. So, okay, that's too big of a piece of parsley. You really kind of want to push it together nice and tight on your spoon. That way it stays together in the oil. I bet you we're going to get at least 30 out of this batch. That's a nice, and it doesn't really take long. You saw how quick it takes to mix it up. And then we're just, you know, cooking them down. We made the sauce first, so the sauce is almost ready to start putting them in. You can make the sauce whenever. You know, it doesn't have to be just made right now, and it doesn't have to be one of those sauces that you cook all day. It can be a sauce with a meat base, so if you have a little bit of, you know, if you have a little spoonful of lard, the secret ingredient in Italy, just a little, but they don't, you know, it's not like you're eating horrible, you're eating one little spoonful, just the little teaspoonful gives it such a nice flavor. You can make it straight tomato like this is. You can also, you know, if you have the sauce from, you know, even if you've got leftover sauce from Sunday, whatever it is, whether it's a meat base, chicken base, whatever, you can put these in anything, any kind of sauce. Just thin it down a little so that these things will soak it up. These belle polpette. Look at that. Now, really quickly, turn those over. There's a little teeny piece. I'm gonna leave that there. If you get little pieces, you know, take them out. Now, I'm going to show you a little variation. You can take some zucchini. You can take any greens, any verdura, okay, any vegetable you want, and shred it up. Let's use this so that's bigger. Moves faster. Okay, let's just take this a little bit. You can take these and mix them in with your breadcrumbs. So you have, they're still vegetarian, obviously. They are still, you know, yummy. It's the same batch of ingredients, but you can add something else to them. Now, you gotta try them plain. They are awesome. And they do taste like, oops, a meatball. All right, so we're really quickly just gonna mix the zucchini in with what's left here. You can put in as much as you want or as little. You can use any kind of leafy greens. You can chop up kale, escarole, chicoria, chicory, or dandelion greens, any kind of anything that you want, and put it in here. Some with some zucchini pieces. As long as there's enough of the breadcrumbs and the eggs to hold it all together. Now I'm going to share with you another thing that I like to do. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll make these zucchini polpette, and I will use like I did just use the bigger one. See, this one's kind of cool. It's got a big side and a meat and the typical mozzarella side, and it's got one's even bigger. but you can use, I prefer the smaller one for these things. I make smaller polpette, zucchini polpette. I do them fried. It makes an awesome appetizer. You know what, I'm gonna put some of these, I'm gonna make a couple little ones right now and show you what I mean. Okay, so just make like half a spoonful. Because it's like snack size, you know, it's perfect for an appetizer table. And then you make a little, you can make a little dipping sauce of, you can just have tomato sauce. You can have, I sometimes make a basil dipping sauce with a cream. So you can use creme fraiche, you can use mascarpone, you can use cream cheese, you can use heavy cream and just mix it all to just make something cream, anything. It really doesn't matter. Just something not too thick, you know, so you don't want to just use cream cheese. You'd have to thin it down. You can use cream cheese, mascarpone, creme fraiche, pane. If you can get your hands on pane, good. And then you just put in a spoonful or two, depending how much you're making, of pesto. And let me tell you, yummy, yummy. You just have these, you have a little dipping sauce with the pesto. You can put it on the dish next to it, and it's so good. You can even do straight pesto if you wanted, but it's good to, it's nice when it's creamy and just looks so pretty. There's a little flecks of green in there. All right, so if you can see this, you see how it's bubbling up? I will probably be able to finish this batch with this one thing of oil. They do absorb some, but if you have it the right temperature, they cook nice and crispy on the outside. Even these, look, even though these are, you know, this is nice and croccante, crispy. They're so good fried. Yum. There's always got to be a reason why we are the ones cooking in the kitchen. You gotta have some benefit, like, you know, test tasting. So these are little ones. See, look at how cute little these are. So see, they're compared to, you know, one of the bigger ones. I mean, they're not a huge difference, but they're about half the size. But these are, and those are good as a snack. Whoop. Okay, drop it in the oil. Good thing I have my big fat apron on. Okay, so we're gonna put these little ones here. Anyway, actually I'm gonna fry these a little bit darker because I wanna make sure they're fully cooked on the inside. All right, so now, you take these and you just put them in the sauce like this, you know? And I'm just gonna show you a couple here real quick. You're gonna let these soak. They have to soak. But see already, see, it looks like a beautiful meatball, but it's a polpette. So that is all there is to it. And you can tell when you squeeze them, if they're still soft, obviously that means they're less cooked on the inside. They're really kind of firm. So these are little ones that we would use as a snack. Let me show you. The inside, they're pretty dense, okay? But they're soft. I don't know if you can see how I'm squishing them, okay? This is, I would say 99% cooked inside. I did push them down a little so they cooked a little faster. But when you test one, make sure that it's one that's cooked. If not, you can just throw it back in the oil and then just save it for yourself afterwards. But you want to test them for saltiness, you want to test them for cheese or whatever. These are just right. But then again, when you taste them the first time, you decide if you want a little more garlic, a little more or less cheese. But this is it. It's handfuls of this. It's pinches of that. You guess until you get this consistency. So this consistency, you know, I can put it in my hand. This is just a little more wet than, say, like a hamburger, a ground beef patty or something. This is more wet than that. It's not, that's gonna stick together better. But now you have an idea of, you know, what it's supposed to look like, what the consistency is. All right, so here's one in the sauce. Now, it's only been in the sauce, what, 2 minutes? But it's already, look it, Look at the sponginess of it. It's already soaking the sauce up. So I can tell you right now. Now, I didn't even salt and pepper that sauce yet, but these things have enough. Okay, so see, the inside is still white. Okay, the outside is red. They already taste good, but if you can just imagine what they taste like after they've cooked in the sauce for a good hour or more, or tomorrow, that is yummy. It's actually a huge difference between now and an hour or so from now. After they've been cooked, you want to keep them on low and just let them simmer like you would your meatballs. Let it simmer in the sauce, and so good. Like, it's so simple and so good. Food cooking does not have to be difficult. Let me tell you, my kids run to the table when we have these babies. Actually, they run to the table all the time. But anyway, you know, they're spoiled. I gotta stop eating. We're gonna have these and a nice big fat salad for lunch today. And it's raining and gloomy, but these things make me happy. So I hope this has made you happy. I hope you enjoyed watching how to make a big mess on the kitchen counter and how to make these polpette roussetan. So here we go. See, look at how pretty these are. Okay, look at that. They're so nice and beautiful golden. Let them soak, and I'm going to throw those in the sauce. I'm going to make a few more here that are going to be fried, and we're going to have a little of each. And the thing is, remember about frying. I use sunflower oil. You can use sunflower oil, maybe an organic good peanut oil, but honestly, I stick with my organic sunflower oil. I like that. It's nice and light. But you want it to be the right time. You don't want it to be cooking too slow, because then they soak up too much oil. It takes too long to cook. You don't want them to be too hot, because they can very easily get really dark on the outside and then make too much of a crust, and then they don't soak up the sauce as well. So you kind of, sometimes mine come a little darker. Like this one has a nice crispy edge, but these are the ones I cooked longer with the zucchini in them to be like, you know, he likes snacks while he's sitting there working. Oh, my poor Pasquale, he just is so, poor him. He's got to sit there and work with all my snacks. These aren't greasy. Like my fingers, I mean, I can feel a little teeny bit, but they're not greasy because you cook them quick enough the right way. Then you're gonna let them soak for a minute, and then you put them in the sauce. So, buon appetito. Enjoy this. Please don't forget to like and ring the dingy bell so you get notified when I come live, because I seem to be coming on at random times lately. Please hit the little dingy bell at the top of the video so that way you get notified if I come on some random time. And please make these, and please post a picture under this video or anywhere on my page. Just send me pictures. I don't care how you send them. But do that. Let's see how many people can make polpette this week and what variations you're going to come up with for your house. Maybe your favorite vegetable is Brussels sprouts. Just never boil your Brussels sprouts. But you could shred them in here. You can do whatever you want. These are polpette yours. Polpette de toi that are yours to make how you want. But just the plain old bread and cheese and garlic and parsley and salt and pepper and eggs. That's all you need. Okay? Ciao. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And if you're in raininess like I am here, cuddle up and enjoy some polpette and watch a good movie. Anyway, ciao.